Well, welcome everyone. Welcome back to the 349th Air Mobility Wing. As most of you know, I'm Michael Blodgett, the Wing's historian, and today I'm going to be chatting with the Command Chief of the Wing, Command Chief Master Sergeant Edward Ramirez. Welcome, Master Sergeant Ramirez.
Dr. Blodgett, it's always a pleasure. How are you?
Thank you. Oh, I'm wonderful. Thank you.
So am I.
Let's talk a little bit about, you have 36 years in service, if I understand it correctly.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
36 years of service.
Well, let's start by telling us a little bit about how you came to the service, about your childhood, say, and your decision to enter the service.
Well, so growing up, and thanks for the question, Doc, because 36 is a long time. Yeah. And where it has gone, it's gone in a blink of an eye. But what got me to where I'm at today? Growing up, I grew up in a household where my dad was a very, very stern individual. He's a retired police officer now, but he was a police officer at that time. So we had rules to follow. Yeah. I made it all through education, high school, up to high school. When I graduated, my idea once I graduated high school was I was going to go, just like everybody else, going to college. Yeah. And I tried that. When I went from living in a household of being disciplined, having curfews at such times, and oh, by the way, Mom was on my dad's side, so she was the enforcer, and so leaving a household like that and going off into the free world to go to college, I was exactly what I said. I was free. Yeah. I did things on my own. I met people outside, my little comfort zone. Had a great time. In fact, sometimes I think I had too much of a good time. So much so that I ended up on the dean's list twice in a negative way. Oh. I was academically put on probation the first semester, and I was put on academic suspension the second semester. So I made the dean's list, but in a negative way. So I had to turn my life around. Yeah. I had to refocus what my goals were and my priorities were. So I entertained the idea of joining the military. My dad, being a very popular man in the police force, he had some friends who were also in the military, and he guided me to one individual who now is a retired Chief Master Sergeant in the reserves, and he led me to where I'm at today. Started my military career 36 years ago.
Great. So you entered the Air Force, I take it?
I did.
Okay, and what was your progression through the Air Force?
So the progression. So I'm a thrill seeker. I'm adrenaline. I like where the adrenaline's at, and I'm always. When you give me a task or a project, I am going to give you 100% or 110% more, just because that's who I am. That's the way I am, me personally. So when I joined the military, I was entertained with the idea of becoming a load master. Okay, load master. Tell me what that is. And so when Chief Andy Vaquero, when he brought it to my attention, he goes, Eddie, you'll join at 19 and you'll travel all around the world. Well, I saw commercials saying, hey, join the Air Force. You'll travel all around the world, and their slogans. And so aim high. And so but he told me more in depthly, no, Eddie, you will travel all around the world. Mm-hmm. Not to mention you'll be a load master, but you can be on the world's largest airplane, the United States Air Force's largest airplane in the inventory, the C-5. And that's part two. Part three is you get to stay home here in San Antonio, where I'm born and raised. So I entertained that idea, and he got me in, set me up with an interview, set me up with a recruiter. I scored high enough on my ASVAB at the time, and lo and behold, come December 30th, 1988, I raised my right hand to defend the Constitution of the United States and join the Air Force Reserves.
Okay. So now I also understand that you are a police officer in your civilian life, and a helicopter pilot at that. It strikes me that those two jobs have some things in common. Would you like to comment about your life as a police officer, how that affected your life as a airman?
Great question, Doc. So I joined the military before I became a police officer, and I was grounded. And I was grounded, and I earned a paycheck. But the stability of as a reservist, as far as gaining that paycheck, wasn't really there at that time. Yeah. So I had to find outside employment, like most of our citizen airmen do. And at the time, the police department was hiring. And again, I'm all about the adrenaline rush. Give me a task and I will succeed. And so I challenged myself to become a police officer. I never imagined following my dad's footsteps. Never did. But I did, and I joined the police department. As I joined with a number of years, as the years in the department, I became great at what I was doing.
Yeah.
Came the opportunity to become a helicopter pilot. I was already on the department, I think, around 10 and a half years on the department. And the supervisor, he saw and he knew about me, heard about me, but not only that, he heard about, and within the police department, but also knew that I had some military background. And he came up to me and says, Eddie, have you ever entertained the idea of becoming one of us, a helicopter pilot? And I said, sir, I never thought of it. And he goes, well, with your expertise in the military, the discipline that you have, and you lead airmen the way you are and continue to do, and the flying experience you have, even though it's not control, but knowing about aviation, I think you would be a good fit. So he opened that opportunity for me. Now, mind you, I had to go out. My wife and I had a long discussion on this. I had to go out and get my private pilot's license. And then that was just to get to the interview, Doc. That wasn't going to say, hey, you're guaranteed a position.
Right.
So I went out and got my private pilot's license in helicopters. So year 2000, I got my license. In year 2001, I was accepted in the police department's aviation unit.
Okay.
I've been flying ever since for the last 23 years.
Wow.
Flying helicopters.
Yeah. You bring up one issue about the family. And again, the Air Force is always worried about our families. You can't have a morale in a war zone without knowing that your families are okay behind you. Talk to me about your family. How did they handle your reserve commitment?
You know, Doc, family's key. Initially, when I joined the military, I didn't have a wife. I didn't have any kids. And so my family, my go-to were my parents at home. During the first part of my career, I'm a Desert Shield, Desert Storm veteran. So my parents they were my support system. I would go, and we're one of the 2 times I was activated was shortly after Desert Shield, Desert Storm, and so I was gone. We were mobilized for one entire year. So there were times where, as an aircrew member, I was gone 3 weeks out of the month, and that 1 week I come back home. I was still living at my parents' house at the time. There's no sense having an apartment or anything like that where I did at once beforehand. And so they said, Eddie, you're wasting your money away. Come back, live with us. We still have a room for you. And so I was gone 3 weeks out of the month. That 1 week, my parents took care of me, made sure I got the rest that I needed. And then sure enough, knowing that I'm going out for another 3 weeks, traveling all over the world in a combat situation. Did they fear of me not ever coming home? Yes, rightfully so. We were going into new territory that neither they nor I were accustomed to. Now, fast forward to me getting married. I got married in 1995, and my wife and I, and again, I'm in the military, and after 9/11, guess what, Eddie, you're being mobilized. Now, at this time, I'm being mobilized. Now I have a family. I have a wife. We're raising 2 children. My wife, again, 100%. She's very supportive of me doing what needed to be done. But the great thing about my parents was not only did they support me during Desert Shield, Desert Storm, now providing a family, they supported my wife and raising 2 newborns. And so my wife knew that I had a responsibility to my squadron, my group, my wing, the United States Air Force. And so she supported me through that. Now, was it challenging? Yes, it was. Very challenging. Here, we've been married a couple of years, and now here I am going off to a conflict. But overall, and now 36 years later, I mean, she's seen me. She's been able to travel with me, attend functions with me, my wife. My kids are all grown now. They're kids, but yet they're young adults doing their own thing. And they've been really, really supportive. And my parents especially, they've been really supportive. And so having that family background, in my case, it was my family. It was my parents, as well as my wife and my children as they got older. It was a huge accomplishment, but also very, very supportive. Because as I moved up in rank, required more responsibilities. And so I had their support. Now, vice versa, when Dad was home, when husband was home, my attention went to them. So it was a two-way street. They supported me when I was away, and I supported them when I was home.
Okay.
So,
fantastic. One of the things that the Air Force is heavily emphasizes is mentoring. Now, all of us have bad days. Some of us have bad months. And so I know that you must have had those. Talk to me about the mentoring process. Talk to me about your mentors, and talk to me about the people you've mentored.
You know, Doc, we've evolved since, mentorship is so heavily used now to where now we're starting to say, now we're coaching versus mentorship. When I first joined the military, there was no such thing. It was more do as I say and as I do, and not as I do. And so I didn't really have a true mentor. I followed. I knew I was going to never become. If I stayed in that career field, I was never going to be a chief.
Yeah.
Unless I gave up my civilian job in the police department to come to the art world, the Air Reserve technician world. So it was never part of the cards of my career path. Now, senior master sergeant, perhaps.
Okay.
But there was no guarantee. It was as if the senior master sergeants in the positions either had to retire, look for another job somewhere else, or just flat out quit. And so that was so there was no career path for me. So I didn't have mentorship at that time, but as I got older and I started making career decisions, now I started finding, well, now I'm the mentor. Yeah. And so I always say that I wish I knew then what I have now, what I know now, because I would have educated those above me about mentorship, because I didn't know anything about mentorship. As an E7 Master Sergeant in the United States Air Force Reserve, I didn't have a mentor. Yeah. I had people that guided me, who taught me how to do the job, but I didn't have that mentor. And then when I had a chance to promote, and again, I took a leap of faith. I went from one flying squadron to the formal training unit. I went over there in 2006. I'll never forget it. And it opened so many doors of responsibilities, but also mentorship. So I started mentoring those that were beneath me. Now mentorship started to take off, and it grew. And not only that it grew, now it's all success stories. Yeah. So early on in my career, I didn't have a mentor. Okay. But now I do. And in fact, so as I've come out on my 36-year mark of getting ready to retire, well, when I was hired for this position here at Travis at 349, my goal, my platform was, if I can make a difference in one airman or one, let's just say airman, capital A, or one civilian's either life or their career, then my goal has been achieved. Now, if I can make a difference in 2,700 airmen's life in the 349, then that's extra. Yeah. And so, but it goes about mentorship. So I'm paying it forward. So I'm paying it forward to those airmen to do the same thing I do. Don't wait until, you're 10 years, 12 years into the military to start mentoring. No, you can start mentoring now as an airman basic, airman first class. Yeah. It starts now. We've evolved, which is a great thing. And we've been successful. Our leaders now, to include on the officer side, we've been very, very successful because of the mentorship now that we afford them and offer them.
Okay. You bring up a subject that I want to touch on here, and that is legacy. Talk to me about what kind of a legacy you believe you're leaving for the Air Force and the 349th.
Doc, that's a wow. I wasn't expecting you to ask me that question, but so with our brand new commander, we just got back in January of this year, and the 3 points that he really lines up effort, he really pushes on, is history, culture, and legacy. And when him and I first talked, and we were talking to our newcomers, brand new to our family, 349 family, it got me thinking. Legacy, what is my legacy going to be? Yeah. When I leave this door, am I just going to be another face on the wall? Yeah, I will be. But I think it's more to that. And so I started thinking, I said, no, it goes back, what have I done? I can honestly say my legacy is that I'm a people's chief. I'm an airman's chief. Yeah. The success, my 36-year career success came on the backs of others. Either one before me, sure. But really it came back on the people I've led. It takes a village to move a mountain. So so my legacy would be all those success stories. And I think I have, in fact, I know I have a lot of success stories of those airmen who've gone on above and beyond and continue going on. And I had a part in that. So I made a difference in their career. I see it all the time when I attend ALS graduations, Airman Leadership Schools graduations, when our members of the 349th are walking away with the John Levito Awards or all the Distinguished Graduate Awards. And it's because I had a play in that. So my legacy, it would be that I made a difference, a positive difference into an airman's career. And I say airman, I'm saying airman capital A, because there's officers here that I've talked to who I've mentored. So I think that's going to be my legacy, that I made an impact on many, many, many airmen's life in their professional life, their personal life, and their military life.
That's wonderful. So 36 years, and now you're retiring. What now?
36 years. So I'm getting my weekends back to my wife.
Okay.
And fortunately for me, my wife likes to play golf. So my weekends, I think, are going to be spent a little bit more time on trying to perfect the game of golf, which is not an easy task, by the way, Doc. And so, yeah, so I'm going to I'm still going to be employed. I'm still flying with the police department, still doing that. But my weekends, I think, are going to be spent more with family and perhaps family on the golf course.
Okay, great. Well, at this point, have you got anything to say that I haven't hit on?
Doc, it's been an honor and a privilege to be the command chief here at the 349th family. I've learned a lot. I've gained a lot of experience. I've grown a lot within the last 2.5 years. The people here are just tremendously. I mean, they are literally a family. Yeah, when I leave here, I'm not going to miss the work. I want to miss the people.
Yeah,
the people, and so the accomplishments that they've done and that they continue to do, it's just simply, it doesn't surprise me, but they're remarkable. With a wing this size, I'm going to miss each and every one of them. The regret I do have is that I wasn't able to meet all 2,700 airmen within our wing. However, the men and women that I have met, it's been a pleasure. It's a pleasure to lead them. It's a pleasure walking alongside them. It's a pleasure of talking with them, mentoring them, and building a place of trust and respect as an organization, and that family atmosphere that we have at the 349th. So I'm leaving the 349th in a better place than when I got it. And hopefully whoever my successor is will continue on with making this wing, this family, the 349 family, a better place when I leave.
Wonderful.
So.
Well, Chief, I will tell you, I always say I work for every airman in this wing as the historian. So I've always felt I work for you as well as others. And it's been just an absolute pleasure to work with you, sir. So thank you. Enjoy your retirement.
Thank you so much, Doc. Thank you so much for what you do. And please, even though I'll be retired, I can still be reached out. So if you need a guest speaker,
perfect.
Reach out to me.
I will do that.
Thanks, Doc.